Roxo Media House.
This is Frogs Today Daily. Frog Fall Camp 2022, presented by Dave's Hot Chicken. And here's your host, the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome back into Frogs Today Daily here just outside of the Morris practice fields where day two just ramped up for Sonny Dykes' team. And again, you saw a group that is in mid-season form, as we mentioned yesterday. The thing about this group today was practiced a little bit faster. You know, it was as if yesterday was sort of a feeling out a bit for this new staff. Okay, when are we going to get to this point? You know, how hard do we have to work to satisfy them? Today, it was all about satisfying these coaches. You could tell it, a little extra spring in the step for these players, and these coaches pushed them a little bit harder as well. There's one theme, though, for this group. There was an emphasis yesterday, if you remember, that we talked about from Coach Sonny Dykes that, they wanted to be in that mid-season form. They wanted to just step right in and continue off where they left off from spring. Here today, though, it was, again, working on individuals as much as anything. In fact, David Bowden's going to stop by here in just a minute. We'll talk more about it. Of course, our show today is brought to us by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken, a cult favorite. Now 2 locations in Fort Worth, Brian Irvin Road at I-20 and Berry Street at TCU, both of them owned by TCU Horned Frogs. We ate there yesterday after episode 1. Mentioned the Frogs Today show. They're going to get you 10% off of your order as well. You can order online at daveshotchicken.com. Here's our lineup for today. A.J. Ricker, the offensive line coach of the Horned Frogs, is going to stop by. We're going to go live to the interview room where Kendre Miller, the Frog running back, is meeting with the media today. We'll do that a little bit later on. We've also dispatched Jamie Plunkett out. There's a couple of position battles that folks aren't talking about that we need to get into. But we start the day with a visit with Coach David Bowden, who joins us now from Amon Carter Stadium. And, David, let's start with this. I guess yesterday it was about details. That was the emphasis from head coach Sonny Dykes. What was the point of emphasis today from his coaching staff?
Thanks, Brian. Yes, the emphasis today certainly you could tell through the whole coaching staff came from Sonny Dykes was individual time. Each coach was running through Indy, trying to steal Indy during special periods when their guys weren't involved. So you look throughout Coach Meacham with his guys working diamond slant, and you could just see things getting slowed down. That slant, they were just working their feet, working an outside release, then coming back inside, but they broke it down step by step. You look over Coach Kelly, his group of receivers, they're working the top of the route stuff, so rather than just getting out of their stance, you could see them breaking down the top of the route, coming driving back to the football. So it was great to see there. Defensive line working bags and pass rush technique for all the way down to just each position group was trying to steal some individual time. You saw DBs just getting in and out of their breaks. So basic stuff that is critical as the season goes on. You know, they say a lot of times that the fundamentals that you develop during camp are the fundamentals that you're going to play on throughout the season, just because when you're preparing for an opponent, there's not a lot of time for that. So you're trying to maximize that time right now.
All right, so during that individual time, you talked about that. What was their primary focus? What were they working on?
Yes, Brian, the emphasis during the individual period was put on technique. Every single position group was working fundamentals and technique, starting from the ground up for most of them. So a lot of footwork stuff. I know Coach Ricker's going to stop by later on, and it was fun to watch the offensive line this morning. They were working the 5-man sled. Sort of old school, but it was nice to see them. They're working their give help steps, which is, working those double teams for a guy who's not covered by a defensive lineman. You saw a lot of that, some zone footwork steps. And first the 5-man sled, and then they went 2-man sled where they lift and drive, would kind of simulate a double team. But again, it all started from the ground up, not only at offensive line, but for every position group. So as expected here in day two, again, focus was on individual and fundamentals to lay that groundwork here as we roll into the season. So a lot of fun and exciting stuff. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that one from Amon Carter Stadium there. Getting ready. He had to go take a peek at it, one time, check on things, see how it's looking out there. When we continue with Frogs Today Daily, Jamie Plunkett's going to join us. We got some position battles that folks aren't talking about. Yesterday we mentioned the quarterbacks. There are 2 others that might be of importance for this group. We'll talk about those when Frogs Today Daily continues in a moment.
Some like it hot. Some like it hotter.
Dave's Hot Chicken is here for the challenge. From kid-safe no-spice tenders to the kind of Carolina Reaper heat that comes with a waiver, Dave's Hot Chicken has it all. And they don't skimp on the extras either. Crinkle-cut fries, mac and cheese, milkshakes, and don't forget the Dave sauce. There's something for everyone. So take your grandma for lunch. Or take your buddy for a bet payoff. Check out their 6 DFW locations, including their newest on Cockrell Avenue in Fort Worth at daveshotchicken.com. Eating the Reaper can cause harm, including but not limited to bodily injury, property damage, emotional distress, or even death.
Day 2 of Frog Football Camp 2022 here today in Fort Worth on another warm morning here for practice number 2 for Sonny Dykes' team. I'm Brian Estridge. Welcome back in here to Frogs Today Daily. Well, we have a full bucket of reporters that are out covering practice every day for you. One of them today, Jamie Plunkett, who you can read at frogstoday.com, of course. And we dispatched Jamie to take a look at a couple of different positions that are out there. Everyone's been talking about the quarterback battle. Let's switch to the other side of the ball now and defense. And, Jamie, let's start with one of those positions that I know was important for at least Joe Gillespie that may be up for grabs.
Well, Brian, a lot has already been made of the quarterback competition here between Chandler Morris, Max Duggan, and Sam Jackson. But as Sonny Dykes mentioned in his Monday press conference, that's not the only position battle that TCU is working through right now. Another key one that Frog fans should keep an eye on is free safety, where DeArco, Perkins, McAllister, and Bud Clark are still battling it out for the starting role in this defense. You've got Millard Bradford and Mark Perry filling those other 2 safety spots already in Gillespie's 3-3-5, but free safety is one that is still up for grabs. If you go back to the spring competition, both Perkins, McAllister, and Clark got reps with the 1s and 2s, but neither was able to separate themselves, so that's something to watch as we get further into fall camp.
All right, Jamie, you mentioned the safeties there. I got to ask about their running buddies, though. Corners, obviously Trey Tomlinson has one locked up. Are both of those spots locked down already?
Cornerback is definitely one of those battles that could fly under the radar this fall camp as well. When you have a top dog like Trey Hodges Tomlinson, it tends to get overlooked, but who's playing opposite of him is still up for debate as far as fall camp is concerned. You have Noah Daniels, who, when healthy, is one of the best cornerbacks in the league, if not the country, but also Ish Beaudin, a Missouri transfer, has come in and started competing for that spot right away. Ish actually has been the one that's run across from Trey with the 1s so far through 2 days of camp, while Noah Daniels has found himself running with the second team. If that continues throughout fall, that'll be a pretty interesting development, but I fully expect both Beaudin and Daniels to press for that other number 1 spot across from Trey.
That's Jamie Plunkett there at the TCU Hall of Fame. Thank you, Jamie. Of course, he's eyeing those 8 new spots where we've got those new Letterman's Hall of Fame members heading in there here in just a couple of weeks. When we continue with Frogs Today Daily, A.J. Ricker, the offensive line coach for Coach Sonny Dykes, is going to stop by. Plus, later on, Kendre Miller, the TCU running back, met with the media. So did his coach, Anthony Jones. We'll meet up with them. It's Frogs Today Daily, presented by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken. Rolls on.
Let me take you back to a cold December night in 1921 when 43 coaches gathered at a New York City hotel for good fellowship and to give expression to their views on the game of football. That next year, the American Football Coaches Association was born. AFCA membership is now comprised of thousands of coaches from high school, college, and the NFL ranks. As the game of football faces change and unforeseen challenges ahead, the AFCA will continue to take a leading role to promote and protect the game and its players who have given us so much.
Frogs Today Daily, Episode 2, presented by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken. And time now to step down to visit with one of Sonny Dykes' coaching staff, and we're honored to have A.J. Ricker, the offensive line coach, alongside. Good to see you, man.
It's good to be here.
All right, a little cooler in here than it was out there today.
Feels good in here.
Yeah, I know, but your guys were getting after today. It felt like, and tell me if I'm wrong, layman watching here, felt like kind of a technique practice today. Obviously, you got to still trying to get in shape, still trying to build some depth, but you were working on some little things today too.
Yeah, I really focus on the detail. It's like anything else. It starts with the footwork, and you work your way up. And that's the foundation that we're trying to lay, and it's all the small things that really matter.
It feels like also that this group, and we know a couple of them obviously, are kind of hungry for technique. That's what they're that they want to learn to be good offensive linemen through technique.
Yeah, and that's what's really it's energizing to me because they ask the right questions, they stay after, they do all the stuff that you have to put in to be a great player. And it's like the NFL guys. How can you make me be a great player and an all-pro player? Steve's all-conference. Well, I want to be first-team all-conference or whatever. And as long as they have that drive, we'll have success.
I feel like offensive line is a position that people don't necessarily appreciate in that they think, oh, you just got to stop that guy in front of you. There's a lot that goes into that, though, as well.
Yeah, and look, none of us grew up wanting to play O-line. I mean, that's kind of the last stop on the train, and we have to – enjoy it because we are different.
Yeah.
But, oh, by the way, you're backpedaling or taking a pass set versus a sprinter coming off the edge and protecting the number one player, the quarterback.
Right.
So we have a serious job, but we can also have fun. And, like I said, we have to adapt to who we are, and we're getting there. It's fun to watch these guys kind of open up a little bit.
You mentioned you were emphasizing feet and the importance of that. Also hands, too, today, man. I think people, we're so used to the holding call that people think, oh, offensive linemen don't really use their hands, can't use their hands. Not true. That's awfully important, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm old school. There's so many different guys out there teaching so many different stuff. I'm old school. We're going to throw our hands. We're going to punch the heck out of them.
Yeah.
Look, football's still a violent sport, and it'll always be that. And we're not going to grab unless we have to. We're going to throw our hands and be physical.
Yeah. This group that you're working with right now, we were looking at them earlier, 14, 15, 16 deep or so right now. How important is it to kind of build on the depth that you have?
Depth is huge. That's the big difference. So you're not wearing your guys out, through a long season, long camp. And competition. Competition brings out the best of us. You want your left tackle to look behind him and say, oh, my gosh, this guy's chomping at my heels.
Yeah.
And a funny story I tell my guys, I never missed a practice in college. I was lucky, but the guy behind me, I never wanted to give him that opportunity.
Right.
Because he probably was better than me. And, that was luck. But competition, which we're starting to get around here, is what's going to drive us.
Pretty good player at Missouri, by the way, folks. And then free agent deal with the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the glory of it was the Rhine Fire in the NFL Europe, right?
NFL Europe, man. I wish they still had that. That was a lot of fun.
All right, let's talk a little bit about these guys and that depth. Do you pigeonhole guys as guards, tackles, or centers, and to where you're a guard, you're going to stay a guard for me?
Absolutely not. I'm a musical chairs guy because at the end of the day, I can't go in there and say, look, guys, the best 5 guys are going to play. And lie to them. I'm honestly, if we got 5 freshmen or 5 newcomers that are ready, the best players, then they're going to start. But I think if you pigeonhole yourself to one position due to a long season injuries, you're really in trouble. So, and I like to see what guys can do. Go from a right tackle to a left tackle, and then really the last 2 weeks in camp is when we'll kind of find their home and really focus on one position.
So all 5 guys up front at some point will have snapped a football?
Yes, yesterday I looked over and Brandon Coleman was playing center. So, and my whole thing is there's no depth chart right now. Yeah. I don't tell guys when to go in. If you want reps, go get reps.
Yeah.
Because I want guys that are hungry to go out there, and it's kind of fun to sit back and watch and see who really wants it and who's going to go up there and get them.
The other thing I noticed is that these guys came back bigger. They had gotten big in the spring, but I feel like they're bigger than they were even as spring ended. Was that a priority for them?
Yes. We put on some mass, and I'll say it 100 times. I've told 1 million people Kaz is the best in the business.
Oh, yeah.
and what he did to those guys, not only physically but mentally, the mental toughness part. These guys just look different.
And does now become the challenge of, okay, you're going to stay big. Now you got to learn to play big. And you got to get in good shape playing big, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it's confidence too.
Yeah.
I tell my guys, on Saturday, I want you to think you're the best left tackle in the country. Yeah. And that's how you got to think. And just because you lose a rep, you're going to lose a battle, but that should not affect your confidence because I want guys to go up there confident that they are a good player and walk around like that and really feel it.
The Big 12, coached at KU, coached at Oklahoma State. Have you been able to relay what some of these young guys are about to be in for when Big 12 football rolls around?
Yeah. It's a great league.
Yeah.
And week in, week out, you're going to go get some great defensive linemen. And, it's a journey, and I'm excited for it.
There is no downtime for Coach Ricker right now. We know that. But when there is downtime, you like to hunt, like to fish? What do you do?
Yep, you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
If I can kill something, I will,
yeah.
animal-wise.
Right.
And fishing. I got my 8-year-old son into fishing, and now it's I mean, if I can hunt and fish, I'm happy.
Yeah. Was there ever a point, you majored in agriculture at Mizzou, was there ever a point where you thought you might use that and not be in football?
No, I knew I was going to go into coaching.
Okay.
My dad was an old high school coach in Missouri, and I knew that was kind of something I always wanted to do.
Okay.
But, when they say get your degree, I promised my mom a degree, so I got one.
I was going to ask, and surely you got some good tomato plants in.
Oh, yeah.
If you're good, if you're an ag major, you got
to have them.
Got to have tomato plants.
Absolutely.
Coach, good to see you. Thanks for coming by here. We're looking forward to great things out of your group.
Absolutely.
Man.
I appreciate you.
Thank
you.
That's A.J. Ricker, offensive line coach here for the Horned Frogs. We're going to hear from a couple of Frogs who are in the interview room as we speak. We'll go there next as Frogs Today Daily continues in a moment.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student-athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student-athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student-athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club, or online at flyingtclub.com.
Some like it hot, some like it hotter. Dave's Hot Chicken is here for the challenge. From kid-safe no-spice tenders to the kind of Carolina Reaper heat that comes with a waiver, Dave's Hot Chicken has it all. And they don't skimp on the extras either. Crinkle-cut fries, mac and cheese, milkshakes, and don't forget the Dave sauce. There's something for everyone. So take your grandma for lunch. Or take your buddy for a bet payoff. Check out their 6 DFW locations, including their newest on Cockrell Avenue in Fort Worth at daveshotchicken.com. Eating the Reaper can cause harm, including but not limited to bodily injury, property damage, emotional distress, or even death.
Hydration and nutrition priorities here at TCU practice as they wrap things up, hopping in those ice baths as well. Save one of those for me, fellas. I'd like to hop in that a little bit later on as we welcome you back in to Frogs Today Daily. I'm Brian Estridge, presented by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken, a cult favorite. Now 2 locations in Fort Worth. Of course, Brian Irvin at I-20 and Berry Street at TCU, right by campus. Both of them owned and operated by Horned Frogs. And order the number 4 or order the number 5. Those are the 2 tastiest lunch specials under $10. You can order online as well at daveshotchicken.com. All right, let's go to the interview room right now. They're in the team room, and that is where Kendre Miller, the Frog running back, and his running back coach, Anthony Jones, are meeting with the media. Let's listen to them in their own words right now.
Well, it's obviously hot, but, you got to come to work every day, and, it's been pretty smooth so far. I feel like the running back room from the spring to now, we kind of growing up, and, it's all good because Coach John, he a good coach. So, we pretty much, from last year to this year, the transition to me, I would say that it feels like it's more like detailed, like we have across our shirt. So I think it'll help out in the long run.
What type of relationship have you and Coach Jones been able to establish? He's had a long history of putting guys in the NFL. What type of coach has he kind of been for you?
He's been a great coach, and he's real close to my parents. He hadn't been here that long, but he instantly wanted to get to know them, and I feel like that's a big part. And if you've been here, you're the coach, to have a good relationship with your parents. And he a cool, funny dude, and he kept us laughing all day. So he's a good dude.
What kind of expectations do you have for yourself this year?
I got a pretty hot bar this year, and I got a pretty straightforward path, and I'm trying to stay on that. So you just leave it at that.
Okay, so you're kind of embracing the role. I know there's like some competition and things like that, but how are you kind of, embracing the role as maybe being like that lead back this year after kind of being, not necessarily backup last year and things like that, but it's kind of like your running back room, your time now in a sense.
With that, I'd say, since, Zach left or whatever, just stepping up and, keeping everybody together every day. And, it's hard waking up at 5 a.m., coming to practice and stuff, but, you just got to come to work, just got to keep encouraging them, keep everybody going.
How talented is this running back group for you guys?
We done came a long way since we first started in the spring. Like I said, we done got much better. Like, I've seen a lot of improvement. I'm just not seeing Corey, but what I've seen so far, he's pretty good. And Trent, he's got a whole lot better since the spring. So I think that we'll all, come together and like be a kind of 1-2 punch. Like whoever comes out, the next one in, he'll be just as good.
I'm excited. I mean, Sonny's offense is known for what it can do for quarterbacks and stuff, but he had some pretty good running backs at SMU. I guess how excited are you to be in the offense this year?
Oh yeah, with the passing game, that opens up the box for me. So and vice versa. So they keep me. We got great receivers. So I mean, it's really pick and choose your poison really. So I think it'll be real good this year, the offense.
What are your thoughts on the offensive line running behind those guys? Looks like they did a pretty good job in the spring for you guys.
Oh yeah, I think the main issue was keeping them healthy, injuries and stuff in the past. Like they've always been good since I've been here, but I feel like they will be pretty, healthy this year with Coach Kai's and our new health staff and all that. So I feel like we'll be pretty good up front.
These guys, they watch you, but for me, being new on the beat, how would you kind of describe the game for somebody that hasn't watched you in depth?
I would say I'm powerful with a surprising breakout speed. Yeah.
Were you do you guys look at these preseason polls and pay attention to that? I think you guys were picked 7th in the Big 12. If you guys look at that kind of stuff, does that give you any kind of motivation to just go out and prove some folks wrong?
Oh yeah, I mean, I glanced at it, but, I kind of figured we was going to be kind of bottom because of the season we had last year. But, I don't even worry about that. Like, we just got to show up every day and come to work and just keep stacking days on days. So, I mean, like I said, they got us picked 7, but I see our expectations, through the sky. So I think that we got a good chance of competing for the championship this year.
This your 3rd year here. Do you get a sense, everyone we talk to says the energy, the people having fun is much different. Do you get that feeling as well?
Oh yeah. Every day, it was you come out here and you can tell that it's not just another day. It's a day to get better. So everybody looks at it like that, and then just you can look around and see everybody on the team. We just having fun. I mean, you get the job done and you having fun. So it's can't complain really. That's how I look at it.
Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain. Refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water. And rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
Talk about the first 2 days of camp. How's it going for that running back group?
Pretty good so far. You can see the growth from this past spring to right now. So the guys are excited and eager to get going, and it's been two really good days so far.
What made you want to leave your hometown and come down here?
It was tough. It was a tough decision. Memphis is home. Memphis will always be my hometown, obviously, but just the great people back in the city of Memphis and the staff and the players was something that I'll always cherish. But when I came and visited TCU and came on the interview here, I was just blown away by everything. Number one, with the people, right? And it starts with our leadership with Coach Dykes and his staff and just the rest of the families. And when I got a chance to meet the players, it was a no-brainer. So the city of Fort Worth is amazing, and my family and I, we're extremely happy to be here.
Coach, from spring to now, you've added Corey Wren as a new running back to the group. What's his ability like, and what do you see in him as being part of this offense?
Yeah, I think he's a playmaker. He's a playmaker with speed. He's a guy that can stretch the field vertically. He has really good vision. He's a natural. He's a track kid by trade. But Corey has been exceptional so far. He came in and he built some relationship with the guys, and our running back room is pretty tight. We got some older guys there that's really good and veterans, and Corey just came in and he gelled right in with those guys. So I think his playmaking ability out of the backfield, obviously, hopefully he'll help in the return game as well with special teams. And just what he does off the field is tremendous for our program, as well as our running back room.
What type of player do you think Kendre can be, and how does he kind of stack up to some of the other running backs you coached while you was at Memphis?
Kendre is talented. He has the size, he has the frame, he has all of the natural ability. He is tremendous. You know, he runs with good pad leverage, and it's obviously certain things of his games that he has to improve, just like any other running back. But I think he ranks up there higher with the rest of them. We also have a senior. I call him Big Amari. You know, he's done a tremendous job in his career here, and I'm so excited about his growth from this spring to right now. So I think those guys will be a really good 1-2 punch. Just the growth those guys have had, and just their willingness to learn and to just to take coaching both on and off the field has been tremendous for me so far.
Coach, you got size among the group, you got speed among the group, experience in that group. I don't want you to rank the running back groups that you've coached in the past, but how is this running back group for you?
I can tell you what, they are pretty good. The one I had at Memphis is 5 of those guys in the NFL, so I don't know if you can compare those guys with them. But they are good. Most importantly, they are really good human beings. And if they're good people, you got a chance. You know, and I think being a good football player comes with being a good person. And you can't ask for a better group of guys. There's 8 guys in that room right now, and those guys have done a tremendous job since I've been here and since they've been here. But talent-wise, they are pretty high. You know, we was fortunate at Memphis to have some really good backs. You know, and we had a really good run for the last 4 or 5 years there, and I can see the growth, and it's just training those guys and just teaching those guys to kind of do what we did there, but do it at the next level. You know, take what we've done at Memphis here to the Big 12.
I was talking to Sonny. He said he believes you're the best running back coach in the country. I guess how's that comment make you feel?
Well, I paid Coach Dykes to say that. I'm joking. I don't know. That's a great compliment. Number one, it's a great compliment in general, and it's a great compliment coming from him. You know, if you look at his track record and what he's done, not only as a head coach but as an assistant coach, and as a person in general, that means a lot. I didn't know he said that, so I got to go give him a hug after this press conference over with.
While you were at Memphis, Coach, you had a chance probably to see SMU and Tulsa and those teams. Did that kind of help draw TCU a little bit closer to you, just knowing the type of coaches that were here?
Absolutely. Just the type of people. You look at coaches from afar, and Coach Dykes is one of those coaches who I've followed throughout my time at Memphis. You obviously playing against his teams at SMU was always a great challenge. And it was just something about playing that game. You know, everybody remember the 2019 season game. That was the college game day deal, and he had his team ready to roll, you know, and that was year in and year out. And just being around him and get a chance to meet Coach Riley and his family and Coach Meacham and Coach A.J. Ricker and Coach Malcolm Kelly, all the coaches on the offensive side of the ball, it's like a family. It's like a brotherhood, you know, and those guys have kind of coached together throughout some point of their career together, and I'm the new guy coming in, and they made my family and I feel right at home from you know, just from day one. So it's been really good.
Coach, you find it's a challenge, obviously not too big because you landed a huge commitment recently, but in recruiting, trying to overcome the quote-unquote air raid tag, you know, when you're recruiting running backs, even though it's unwarranted, they obviously get, you know, I mean, you run the ball in this offense, but that gets thrown around, and it might be a little bit easier for quarterbacks.
Yeah, for some reason, people think that we are air raid team, a true air raid team, maybe because of the name Coach Dykes and Coach Riley, maybe because of the name, but if you go back and look at the record, they're pretty balanced. You look at what Coach Riley has done at SMU the last 2 years, I think it's about 45-55 run-pass ratio. You know, so when we're recruiting backs here, we number one, like I said, we look for good young men, all right? So Amari is going to be a senior this year, so I'm looking for a guy that has his character. If a guy don't have his character, then we can go find somebody else, because running back is a position that, yes, you want talent, yes, you need talent for it, but you want good young men. You want unselfish young men, because there's only one ball in college football, you know, and we live in a day and age now where this is a me society in a way, and no other position have you seen that more so recently than at the running back position, you know. And but no, we don't fight those battles. Sometimes other schools try to probably use that against us, but we don't even mention what other schools do. To be honest, what we do, we sell our program. We feel like TCU is more than enough to capture the hearts and minds of the young men that we're recruiting and their families, you know. So. We're going to sell our product, we're going to sell our offense, and we're going to wait till the season, get here to see how everybody produces, you know.
One guy that had a pretty good spring, Coach, was Amani. What are you kind of hoping to see from him this season?
Yeah, I want Amani to take that next step. You know, obviously he has some success at ULL. He was a really good high school player here at Denton Ryan, and I know about that program all too well. And I just want him to take that next step in his running back maturation process, you know, and I believe he can. And he just has to play one play at a time. He doesn't have to play with a lot of weight on his shoulders and just be so frustrated when things don't go his way. And just take it one play at a time. He's a smaller back, so he has to understand he has to use that to his advantage. I think once he does that, he'll be fine.
When you think about the different styles of runners you have in that room, does that really seem like a big opportunity for you guys to do some different things in the backfield?
Absolutely. I think those guys complement each other well. You know, earlier we were talking about Kendre and Amari. You mentioned Money and Corey, and we have another young man, Trent Battle, who I think can add to that mix as well. All of those guys have different running styles. All those guys have different personalities. All those guys bring something different to the table, which I think is a great compliment. It kind of remind me of the crew that I did coach at Memphis. You know, those guys all brought something different to the table, but they're really, really good football players. You know, so I think anytime you have that, you don't have one guy with the same trait, 2 or 3 guys with the same trait. I think you got a dynamic mix in that running back room.
Trent's kind of a good story. He played quarterback in high school, and now he's transitioned to running back.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all watched his quarterback highlight, but I'm
but is it fun to get a chance to coach someone that's kind of raw at the position and just?
Yeah, Trent is an unbelievable young man. I told Amari at practice, and don't y'all tell him either, I think Trent's going to be really, really good. I never tell him that right now because I don't know how he'll react to it, but I think Trent is a very, very coachable kid. And anytime you have a coachable young man, you give yourself a chance to be good. You know, I think Trent he epitomizes that. You know, so he's been a really good pleasant surprise this past spring and so far the first 2 days of fall camp.
Expecting big things out of Kendre Miller, the Frog running back, visiting with us there in the interview room post-practice. Now, coming up tomorrow, obviously it's practice number 3. We find out what that day's emphasis is from Sonny Dykes. Also, Paul Gonzalez, the Frog defensive back coach, safeties coach for the Horned Frogs. He's going to stop by and visit with us tomorrow. One of the just a couple of holdovers from the previous staff. Paul Gonzalez is going to join us tomorrow as we continue with another edition of Frogs Today Daily. Don't forget, you can always go to our website, frogstoday.com. You get a full practice report there from Jamie Plunkett, Jeff Wilson, Dave Bowden. Are always keeping you up to date with everything that transpires throughout the day. They leave the practice field. But these guys don't leave work. These players and coaches continue, and our reporters are following them all day long. You can follow that at frogstoday.com, also on all of our social media websites, including Twitter, at Frogs Today. All right, back tomorrow with Paul Gonzalez. Another full report after day number 3. Special thank you today to our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken. Stop by for lunch today. Be perfect for you. Grab some dinner tonight as well for the family. For Jamie Plunkett and for Dave Bowden, all of our crew here as well at the Morris Practice Fields. I'm Brian Estridge. Until tomorrow for another edition of Frogs Today Daily.
Frogs Today Daily, presented by Dave's Hot Chicken, is a production of Roxo Media House.
Roxo Media House.